Welcome to Home Biz Tax Talk. My name is Lysandra Everett. I am the Home Biz Tax Lady, where I help home business owners win the tax game. Home Biz Tax Talk airs Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock-ish. And when you tune into my show, you're going to hear about topics that are important to the home business community. All right, today we are talking about tax news, okay? So Michael Cohen, who is President Trump's attorney or previous attorney or whatever, he pleaded guilty to 8 felony counts that include tax evasion, bank fraud, and campaign finance violations. Okay. Now, I'm not into the campaign finance violations. Okay. Whatever with that. I don't keep up with that stuff. But this tax evasion and this bank fraud, woo. Okay. This was some interesting reading to me. All right. So let's dig in to what the charges are, and then we'll talk about the rest. Okay, so with all of this stuff, he faces a maximum of 65 years in prison, but I doubt very seriously he'll go to jail for that long. He might do 5, maybe, but he could face 65 years in prison, but he ain't going for that long. All right. So, and he's only 50 something years old too, like 52 or 53 or something like that. Okay. Neither here nor there. Let's get down to the T with this right here, because this is some stuff that, this is going to be a great movie when it comes out in a couple of years. I'm going to be sitting there with some popcorn, but let's talk about it. Okay. So, like I said, he pleaded guilty. I got my notes over here, you guys, because I can't remember all this stuff, to 8 counts of tax evasion, making false statements, and campaign violations. All right. So from 2012 to 2016, Mr. Cohen committed tax evasion. And what did he do? He failed to report more than $4.1 million in income to the Revenue Service. And the income was related to his taxi cab companies, okay? Now, those taxi cab companies were linked to some tax trouble themselves. And the New York's taxi king, he's this Russian guy, Evgeny, something like that, Friedman. He pleaded guilty to tax fraud. And then that's when it came out that Michael Cohen had been his business partner, okay? Now, we talked about that quite a couple of months ago, because that was juicy right there, and I was watching this. Okay, so anyway, so he also failed to report hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of income for activities for consulting, income from brokering sales of real estate, and selling a Birkin bag, which is some French thing. Like, I hadn't even heard of a Birkin bag before this. So anyway, so as a part of his plea agreement, he has to file amended tax returns with the IRS, and he has also agreed to pay restitution, including back taxes, penalties, and interest. So off the top, right now, he owes about $1.5 million in back taxes. Now, the $1.5 million does not include the penalties and interest. So from the date, the penalties and interest get assessed from the date the taxes was due. So they're going to go back to April 15th, 2013, or when as far back as that, and start calculating these penalties and interest. So this $1.5 million is about to go up. All right. So they go back and they go from the date that the taxes were due. And so he's going to have to pay this money back. Okay. So then the other thing is that he was the charge was making false statements for the purpose of influencing in any way the action of enumerated agencies and organizations. Basically, he lied to a bank in order to get some credit. Okay, it was bank fraud. All right. Now, the reason I really want to talk about this bank fraud for a minute. Hey, how are you? Bass family. Hey, Samantha. Okay. So the reason I really want to talk about this whole bank fraud thing, because it is a common thing for small business owners, home business owners who are really, their business is really funding their lives, right? So one of the things is, like, when you're buying a house, okay, you have to make some plans for that, because in the time that you're planning to buy a house, you're going to have to pay some taxes, because the bank is going to lend you money based on the amount of profit that you show. So if you're writing off everything under the sun and, that's what you think is a good idea, but when you're buying a house, you're going to have to pay some taxes, because they want to see that profit that for the taxes that you're filing for 3 years. They're looking to see, what is that profit? Does the profit that you show support your ability to repay this loan? Okay. So, but then what people try to do is they basically file these taxes, they show this profit, and then want to go back and amend those taxes to then reduce the tax liability. That is fraud. Okay. Mortgage lenders actually go back and relook at those tax returns. And if it turns out that you lied and you went back and you amended these taxes, that is fraud, honey. Don't try it, because they will go back and get you. Okay. But anyway, so let's get back to this. So this goes back to 2010, when he took out a loan worth about $6.5 million using these taxi medallions with this taxi king dude here as collateral. Okay. And then a year later, he got another $6 million line of credit, again, using these same medallions as collateral. Then he increased his line of credit to $14 million. So he's got about $20 million worth of a line of credit out there. Okay. Then he wanted to get a mortgage on a condo, but he only fessed up about $6.4 million. So he didn't mention that other $14 million, which is fraud, because if he had disclosed that additional $14 million in debt, then they would not have given him this money. So he then attempted to get another mortgage, but during that process, they were like, okay, yeah, we see this debt over here, so we can't help you. So then, all right, I'm telling you, this is some crazy stuff. People will go through all kinds of links, but he told them that he would close it, but I don't think he did that. Okay. So nuts and bolts is he lied on a bank application, which is against the law. All right. So listen, follow the money. So, one of the questions I got in talking about this and talking about Michael Cohen and talking about Paul Manafort and all these other different types of crimes, people are like, how is it that you can't, they wind up getting caught up on all this financial stuff, because financial crimes are easier to prove. You either reported the income or you didn't. And if you can't prove that you did, well, then you didn't. This makes it very simple. So you can go through and follow the paper trail. And if the paper trail ain't there, then you didn't do it. Then you lying, right? So I'm telling you, it's all kinds of crazy stuff that this dude is doing. So he's, like I said, he's got to pay this money back, $1.5 million in taxes. And that penalty, the interest on that, sweet Jesus. Okay. That's going to be ugly. Now this is a call to my ladies. Okay. Well, not just ladies, just spouses in general. You have to know what's going on in your tax life. Okay. One of the things that I think is a major failure in marriages, just in general, is that there's usually just one person that handles the taxes. The other one just really doesn't know what's going on. All right. So with this tax evasion, Mr. Cohen here, who is out on a $500,000 bond, his wife had to co-sign on that, by the way. But if they filed joint taxes, which 9 times out of 10 they did, then she is also liable. Now, will they hold her responsible for his criminal stuff? I don't know. But I told you on those tax returns, it says before you sign it that you have examined this tax return, including the accompanying schedules and statements and all of that, and everything is true and correct. Okay. So one spouse signs it, the other spouse signs it. Now, if you the spouse that's just going out to lunch, I'm going to need for you to come back. Okay. I need for you to come back and know what's going on in your household. Because see, if she's saying, okay, I didn't know anything about this, boo, you're going to have to prove you didn't know nothing about this. Okay. And so this is why as a married couple, you cannot just go to sleep. Even though in my home, yeah, I'm the tax professional, but I make sure I sit down with my husband. We going through these taxes so you can see, exactly what's going on, period. Because we in this together. So, so I'm looking for all the bank statements. I'm like, okay, where's this one that we were supposed to we had this last year? How come we don't have this right now? What's going on? Where is it? Let's go get it. Okay. So you can't just go to sleep on your taxes and think everything is okay. You as the spouse have to know what's going on in your household, and then how are you liable, right? I just had a call from a lady whose husband just decided he was just going to go lunch out on taxes, right? He was the person that was in charge of the taxes for their household. Then he just decided he wasn't going to file anymore. So now she's coming to me. She's like, I don't have time for this. Like, what can I do to protect myself? And that is what being vigilant is all about. If you can't make one person do something that they don't want to do. So you have to learn how to protect yourself as well. Okay. But what you cannot do is just go to sleep on the taxes. You just can't, because if you are filing joint, you are responsible both jointly and severally, which means that let's say something happens and one spouse dies and we still got this going on. Guess what? You still responsible. So you need to know what you're accepting responsibility for. If you're accepting responsibility for this tax, that okay, cool. And but if you got some crazy stuff going on with these taxes and you just choose not to know, it's unacceptable. And so even with me as a tax professional, I've seen it where I have a couple sitting in front of me and I'm dealing with one person and the other person is just sitting there. I'm like, excuse me, I need for you to pay attention because this involves you as well. And people get taken aback by that. Well, I'm like, I don't have time for you to say, well, I didn't know this and I didn't know that. And she, meaning me, I didn't explain it. Oh, no. Not even having that. And the other thing that I thought was funny that I just thought about is when he was, Cohen, when Cohen was confessing to all this stuff, right? They asked him if he was drunk. They asked him if he was of sound mind and if he had consumed alcohol. So they wanted to make sure he was sober. Okay, that was wrong, but it was funny. But he just said, hey, I had a glass of wine the night before, but, basically saying I'm clear of sober mind. I ain't crazy, none of that stuff. But I just thought that was funny. All right. So the lesson here is, number one, lying on loan applications, that is against the law. Okay. If you are, a business owner and your business is supporting your lifestyle, you go buy a home or whatever, and then you go amend those taxes after you made your purchase to reduce your tax liability and all of that stuff, that is mortgage fraud. Okay. And you can go to jail for that. So don't be playing on these applications, because if you get caught, you can go to jail, period. Okay. These financial crimes ain't nothing to play with. And, and that's the thing about financial crimes, right? These suckers got teeth, baby. All right. So, but this is going to be a Law and Order episode. I cannot wait for this. Him and Paul Manafort, they both going to be Law and Order episodes. It's going to be a movie and I'll be sitting there right there with the popcorn and everything. All right, you guys. So, but at the end of the day, listen, tax evasion. Listen, you guys. Okay, I'm going to say this and then I'm going to wrap this up. Because, tax evasion on the high level, low level, is the same thing. You're hiding money from the government. And not paying the applicable taxes. When, if you would just prepare for those taxes and just write them the check, because that's the law. And, and so then when it comes back to bite you, then you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Well, no, you should have just followed the law to begin with. No, nobody wants to pay taxes. Everybody thinks it sucks, but it's not going away. Like, I don't care how much they reduce funding to the IRS. The IRS is not going away, because see, Congress writes the law. The IRS enforces the law. Okay, so this is why the IRS isn't going anywhere. I don't care what people say. The IRS is not going anywhere, because they need to collect their money. Okay, that's just what it boils down to. So, that's the nuts and bolts, you guys. Financial crimes, I'm telling you, that's the equalizer in all this stuff, because if you commit them financial crimes, they will come for you. It will come for you. All right. So that's it for today's episode of Home Biz Tax Talk. Again, we air Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock-ish, and you can come here to get your questions answered about your home business taxes. All right. Have a great day, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.